Hi everybody. Today we are going to learn how to write a chemical formula of an inorganic compound. You all know that there are three types of substances in inorganic chemistry like acids, bases and salts. For writing any chemical formula for any substance, one should have idea about two things. One is they should have idea about ions, their symbols, and second thing is they should have idea about the valencies. Okay, so I would like to start with the ions first. Ions are the substances, these are the charged species which are formed by losing or gaining electrons. We all know that why an atom it tries to lose electrons or gain electrons. Okay, because to attain stability by getting octet configuration or duplet configuration in their outermost cell, some atoms loses electrons and some atoms gains electrons. So keeping it aside, coming to our point of ions, atoms on losing electrons they gain positive charge and they are called as positive ion or positive radical. Okay, so what are ions? Once again I will repeat, ions are the charged species. We should not call it as charged particles, because if we say it is a charged particle, then people will get confused with charged particles like protons, electrons, etc. Okay, see, so these are ions are the charged species, or you can call it as atom or molecule even, which are formed by losing of an electron, or not just an electron, by losing electron or by gaining electrons. So atoms, when they lose electrons they get a positive charge on them, therefore they are called as positive ion or positive radical. Can you tell me why atom acquires a positive charge when it loses electron? You know, yes, because atoms are electrically neutral. When they lose electron, they are losing negative charges. In a neutral atom, we all know that the total number of protons and the total number of electrons present in a neutral atom are same. But when they are losing electrons, that means they are losing negative charges. They are losing negative charges. So what dominate on that atom? So in that atom, positive charge will dominate. This is the positive charge which we represent on an atom or a molecule when it loses electron. Similarly, when atoms gains electrons, atom is gaining electron, it means it is gaining negative charge. It is gaining negative charge. Therefore, when atoms gains electrons, they acquire a negative charge on them. How many electrons it is gaining, that much negative charge it will acquire on it. And similarly, how many negative charges it is losing, that many positive charges will dominate on that atom or molecule. Therefore, we will represent a positive charge on that atom and we will call it as a positive ion. If it is losing if it is losing electrons, we will represent a negative charge on them. We will call it as a negative ion. So you may be getting a confusion that radicals are the highly energetic particles which are formed in the photochemical reactions. Yes, of course, but here we can also refer radicals, positive ions as positive radicals and negative ions are as negative radicals. The basic difference between ion and radical is I have mentioned here. See, if a group of atoms is carrying charge, then that will be called as radical. On the other hand, only if single atoms are carrying charge, then they are called as ions. So here is the basic difference between radicals and ions. These are different from the highly energetic particles which are formed during a photochemical reaction. Okay, fine. Let us move further. Ions. Basing on the charge, ions are divided into two types. Like I have shown here, they are divided into cations as well as they are divided into anions. As I said earlier, atoms on losing electrons they are called as positive ion. Positive ions are also called as cations. Okay, I have given some examples here. K plus, potassium loses one electron, silver loses one electron, then it will acquire positive charge. Lead losing one electron, it will acquire positive charge, or if it loses two electron, it will acquire negative charge. And chlorine, on gaining one electron, it has acquired one negative charge. Oxygen gained two electrons, it has acquired a minus 2 here, and sulfur also on gaining 2 electrons it will acquire a negative charge, that is minus 2. Further, ions are classified into two types. One is simple ion, another one is a compound ion. Sometimes many of my students ask how to identify cations and anions, because sometimes they may get confused with the cation and anion. So children, I would like to show you a simple method to remember anions and cations. See here, cation spelling is C-A-T-I-O-N-S, cat. While writing cations, what you write here? Cat. C, I have written here cat. In the cat, you can mention, or you can see what I am highlighting here, T. If we highlight T, what is happening here? It is appearing as plus. That means cations acquire what charge here? Cations acquire a positive charge. And while writing anion spelling, if you observe, we write A-N-I-O-N-S, anions. Let me highlight that minus charge here. That is minus charge here. So A, when you are writing here, you put a hyphen here. After writing this sign, you will put a dash like this. A means here you are writing a minus here. So anions indicates, or anions means the atoms or molecules carrying a negative charge on them, whereas cations means those which are carrying a positive charge on them. Hope this clears you the confusion between the cations and anions. Moving further, as I said, ions are classified into, again here, ions are classified into simple ions and compound ions. As I have mentioned here, that simple ions are those which have only one type of atoms in them. For example, if you see only Ag plus, only oxygen atoms are here. But on the other hand, when you see compound ions, compound ion contains more than one type of atom. See here, here we have sulfur and here we have oxygen, two different elements, atoms of two different elements. One is sulfur, another one is oxygen, and here one is phosphorus, another one is oxygen. So such type of ions in which more than one type of atom is present, then they are called as compound ions. And where if there is only one type of atom present in them, then such type of atoms will be referred as simple ions. Okay, further moving, as I said, one should have idea about two things for writing a chemical formula. That is, one is about ions and second one is valency. So I hope you are clear with the ions. So ions are the species which are formed by gaining or losing electrons, and atoms on losing electrons they form positive ion, and atoms on gaining electrons they get a negative charge on them. So the negatively charged ions are called as anions and positively charged ions are called as cations. Now we will move towards directly into the valency. Okay, valency, valence and valency, these are the two confusing words. These two are also again confusing words for you people. So valency and valence, I will first I would like to define what is valency. Valency is the number of hydrogen atoms which combine directly or indirectly with an atom of element. Okay, so this is the number with which an atom is combining with number of hydrogens. For example, an atom is combining here with two hydrogens, then its valency will be said 2. Or if an atom is combining with four hydrogens, for example carbon, methane, if you take example here, carbon will combine with four hydrogens, therefore carbon's valency will be 4. For example, in case of ammonia, if you take the formula NH3, with how many hydrogens nitrogen is combining? It is combining with 3 hydrogens, therefore nitrogen's valency is 3. If you want the valency of oxygen, take example of water H2O, with how many hydrogens oxygen is combining here? It is combining with 2 hydrogens, therefore valence of hydrogen is 2. So valency can be defined as the number of hydrogens with which an atom is combining, or even one can define valency in terms of oxygen also. How? It can be defined as double the number of oxygens with which an atom is combining. For example, if you take MgO, magnesium oxide, oxide is combining, in magnesium oxide oxygen is combining with 1 magnesium. That means according to the definition, it is the double the number of oxygen atoms with which an element is combining. So magnesium is combining with how many oxygens here, means it is combining with 1 oxygen, therefore double the number of oxygen means it will be 2. So magnesium valency is 2. Okay, for example, if you want valency of Pb in PbO2, okay, with how many oxygens lead is combining here, means lead is combining with 2 oxygens, so double that number, you will get 4. Therefore in this case the valence of lead will be 4. So one more definition, many other definitions we have. Simple definition I usually teach to my students is, it is the combining capacity of an atom to form number of bonds. An atom is forming how many bonds with other atoms, that is the valency of that atom. See, sometimes it may be difficult to remember all the valencies of all the atoms. So I have a method here how we can remember atoms, how we can remember the valency of some elements. See, if you are able to learn the elements group wise, then it will be very easy for you people to write the valency of that atom. For example, if you take the atoms of group 1, group 2, group 3 and group 4 elements of the periodic table, then their valencies will be 1, 2, 3 and 4 respectively. For example, imagine atom sodium. Sodium falls in first group. That means sodium falls in first group means its valency will be 1. Okay. For example, take element present in fourth group. Fourth A group, that is carbon. For example, if you take carbon falls in fourth group, therefore its valency is also 4. If you take silicon, which falls in the same group, its valency is also 4. Okay, for the elements which are present in 5, 6, 7, 8 groups, in order to get valency of that atom, you have to subtract the group number from 8. For example, imagine, let me try here. For example, take oxygen. Oxygen falls in which group? It falls in 6th A group. So you have to subtract 8 from 6. When you subtract 8 from 6, you will get 2. Therefore the valency of 6th group elements is 2. For example, if you want a valency of phosphorus falls in which group? Phosphorus falls in 5th A group. Subtract 5 from 8, you will get valency 3. For example, if you want a valency of argon or krypton, I will write krypton. Krypton falls in which group? 8th group. So subtract 8 from 8. 8 minus group number, then valency will be equal to 0. In this way you can easily calculate the valency of an atom if you are aware, or if you are thorough of the elements according to their groups. Okay, continuing. Here one more definition I have given for valency. So number of electrons an atom has gained or lost during the formation of a bond. During the formation of a bond, especially about when we talk about covalent bonds, when we talk about ionic bonds, atoms loses electrons and other atoms. We have given another definition here, that is it is the number of electrons an atom has gained or lost during the formation of a bond. Particularly here we are talking about ionic bond. During ionic bond formation, one atom loses electron and other atoms receives electrons or takes electrons. So how many electrons an atom is losing, that is called as its valency, and on other hand, the other atom which is receiving electrons, how many electrons that other atom is receiving, that will be called as its valency. For example, if we take sodium chloride, in sodium chloride NaCl, we know that the valency of Na, sodium falls in first group, therefore its valency is equal to 1. That means sodium will lose how many electrons here? In this case it will lose 1 electron. Coming to chlorine will fall in which group? It falls in 7th A group. 7th A group means subtract 8 minus 7, you will get 1, therefore chlorine's valency is also equal to 1. That means during the formation of sodium chloride, what happens here? Sodium loses 1 electron and chlorine gains 1 electron. Therefore, sodium's valency is 1 and also chlorine's valency is also 1. Now, coming back, we have said that there is a difference between valency and valence. So, valence means here, when we talk about valence, we just not say valence, we say valence electrons. So, valence electrons are the total number of electrons present in the valence shell. Okay, so don't get confused with the valency. Valency is the combining capacity of an atom. Okay, so valency is the combining capacity of the atom, whereas valence electrons are the electrons which are present in the outermost shell. For example, in case of first group to fourth group, valency and valence electrons are same. For first group, valency is 1. Valence electrons in them are also 1. NS1, we usually write general electronic configuration NS1. Okay, and for group 4, valence electrons are 4, even valence is 4. But when you go beyond that, 5, 6, 7, 8, group number is not equal to group number is not equal to the valency. But what you have to do, you have to subtract 8 minus group number to get valency. Moving further, how one can assume to find valency? Here some basic things are there for writing valency. So first point here is that the hydrogen atom and all other metals are considered to be positive. The valency of hydrogen and all metals is considered positive, and that too for hydrogen atom, the valency that is considered is always positive +1. Okay, except in metal hydrates. In metal hydrates, hydrogen's valency is considered as a -1. So don't get confused with that. Except in case of metal hydrides, hydrogen's valency is considered negative. In all other cases, hydrogen's valency and other metals' valency is considered as a positive. Then point number 2, the valency of non-metals except hydrogen is considered negative. As I said, in some cases, in metal hydrates, hydrogen valency is considered negative. So, remaining all other cases, non-metals, their valency is considered as negative value. Next, point number 3, as the molecules of the compound is electrically neutral, the total charge present on the molecule, whenever you write a formula, for example, you write formula H2SO4, you don't write it's -1 on that formula, or NaCl, you don't put any charge on it, minus or +1 or -2, something you never put on them. Why? Because the total charge on the molecule is always considered as neutral. So that means the total positive charge will be equal to the total negative charge. Okay. Next, for example, in the case of HCl, we have taken one example here. One atom of hydrogen is combining with one atom of chlorine. So in HCl, how many chlorines are combined, how many chlorines are, sorry, example here we have taken is hydrogen chloride. In hydrogen chloride, one chlorine is combining with one hydrogen, therefore therefore chlorine's valency is considered to be 1. Okay, next, whereas if you consider hydrogen's valency as plus 1, then what you have to imagine, the chlorine's valency to be minus 1, so as to make the compound totally electrically neutral. If you have imagined the valency of hydrogen to be plus 1, then you have to imagine the valency of chlorine as minus 1, so as to make the total charge on the molecule as neutral. In case of the compound H2S, we have taken another example. 2 atoms of hydrogen combines with 1 atom of sulfur. The formula is H2S. 2 atoms of hydrogen combining with the 2 atoms of sulfur. Therefore, sulfur's valency will be considered as a 2. Because sulfur is a non-metal, its valency will be considered as a minus 2. Okay. Then, basing on the valency, elements are classified into various types, like one here is monovalent compounds, monovalent atoms are there, divalent atoms are there, trivalent elements or atoms are there, and tetravalent are there. Valent means valency, monovalent means monovalency, single valency. If the valency is 1, see here in case of sodium, valency we have written is only plus. Plus means nothing but plus 1. Like even in potassium, K plus nothing but K plus 1. Okay, so their valency is 1, therefore they are considered as the examples for monovalent compounds. Divalent, if valency is 2, then they are considered as a plus 2. Then in case of aluminium and iron, the valency is 3, therefore they are examples for trivalents. And so tetravalent elements with valency 4, they are called as tetravalents, and examples are here are carbon and silicon are some examples. So further moving, we have variable valencies. What is a variable valency? It is a simple thing, you don't have to worry about it. If an atom exhibits more than one type of valency, then it will be called as variable valency. For example, if you take iron, the valency of iron in FeCl2 is 2 and that of FeCl3 is 3. In iron, in ferrous chloride FeCl2, the valency of iron is just 2, whereas in FeCl3 the valency of iron is 3. And in case of CuCl2 and Cu2Cl2, one is CuCl2, another one is Cu2Cl2, the valency of copper here is 1 and valency of copper in other case is 2. And similarly in another case we have seen here SnCl2 and SnCl4, the tin is exhibiting 2 valencies, 2 and 4, 2 different valencies it is exhibiting. So such thing is called as variable valency. How to name the variable valencies? See, the compound in which the elements show higher valency, it is indicated by suffix "ic". Compound in which the elements show higher valency, then it will be ending with the suffix "ic". For example, if you take iron, iron is exhibiting 2 valencies, that is plus 2 valency and plus 3 valency. In these 2 valencies, which one is higher means this valency is higher, plus 3 valency is higher. So for higher valencies, the suffix that is added here is "ic", so it is ferric. And for lower valencies, they end up with the suffix "us", so the another valency of iron, which is 2, it ends up with the name ferrous. Okay, now you are aware of valency and variable valency and type of valencies. So once again I would like to wind up this one in a minute, what we have learnt about valency. So what is valency? Valency is the combining capacity of an atom, or it is the combining capacity of an atom to form number of bonds, or it is the number of electrons it is gaining or losing during the formation of a bond. And there are various type of valencies like monovalent, divalent, trivalents and tetravalents, and we have also learned about variable valency. Variable valency is if an atom exhibits more than one type of valency, then it will be called as variable valency. Atoms with higher oxidation state, they will be ending up with the suffix "ic", and atoms with lower valency, they will be ending up with "us". So oxidation se adaya. So there is a slight difference between valency and oxidation state, and I will come up with that when I make a video on oxidation states, how to write oxidation states. In that video I will try to differentiate the valencies and oxidation states. Now once you have idea about ions and valency, then it becomes easy for you to write the valencies. So after having idea about ions and valencies, the third thing you have to do is you have to learn the valency and the name of the element and their symbol. It is not just sufficient to learn the ions, but just by understanding what is an cation, what is an ion, it is not just sufficient. You have to remember all these monoatomic cations and monoatomic anions which I have given here, and I will try to put them in my description, or I will attach somewhere in the so after having learnt about valencies and ions, you should learn even some monoatomic cations and some monoatomic anions. Their valencies you have to learn, and their names and their ions you have to learn. Once you have learnt the cations and the monoatomic anions, and there are some other type 2 cations I have collected here some, then valencies of some common polyatomic ions also there. I will try to put them all in the description, or I will upload them in the form of some file. You can get it from there, or I will put the link from where I have got all this data. Okay. Finally, we are at the last junction, that is the crisscross method, and this is the last step to write the chemical formula for any given substance. Note that this is the important note, we have already said before also, but once again I would like to remind you that compounds are electrically neutral. They carry the same number of positive charge and same number of negative charge. So they are electrically neutral. The total charge will get cancelled. Okay. The first step in crisscross method is this one. See, you have to write the symbols of the positive ion or radical on the left side. So this is the left side and this is the right side. I don't have to highlight this one. Okay, fine. Coming to the step 1. The step 1 here is you have to write the the symbol of the positive ion or the radical on the left side. You can see I have written hydrogen here and calcium here on the left side, and magnesium sulfate on the left side, and aluminum phosphate on the left side. I have taken 4 examples, like hydrogen chloride is one example, calcium chloride second example, magnesium sulfate as third example, and aluminum phosphate as my fourth example. After writing the positive elements on the left side, what you have to do is you have to write the negative ion or radical on the right side. Okay, so negative radical of hydrogen chloride is chlorine. We know this is a electronegative element. Fluorine is also electronegative element, and it carry negative charge on it. Similarly, sulfate carries a negative charge on that ion, and phosphate carries a negative charge on it. So after writing the positive ion on the left side and negative ion on the right side, let us move to the second step here. So what we have to do? We have to write the valency on the top right of that element. For example, see here, step 2, this one. hydrogen, I have written the valency of hydrogen here 1, and valency of chlorine I have written here 1. Calcium valency top right corner I have written 2, and fluorine valency 1 top right corner I have written. Like that, for every atom or molecule like this, we have to write its valency on its top right corner. Then we have to, after writing the valency on its top right, then we have to divide the valency if they are divisible. We have to divide the valency if they are divisible. For example, if you take 2 and 1, they are not divisible, so no need to divide them. This is the simplest ratio. But in case of magnesium, magnesium valency is 2 and sulfate's valency is also 2. So then simply you can divide it with suitable number for dividing 2 is 2. You can divide this 2 with 2 and again this 2 with 2. You'll get answer, you'll get value 1 here, and for this also you'll get value 1. Similarly, for fourth example, that what we have taken here, the valence of sodium is 1, phosphate valence is 3, but this is the simplest ratio, so you cannot divide it further. Okay, and then moving to, and one more thing what you have to do is you have to ignore the positive and negative signs. You can check here already, I have not written any +1 here, or I have not mentioned any negative sign here on chlorine. Fine, then note that point also. Next, moving further for step 3. Step 3 is the last step, and in this step the formula will be final here. So for hydrogen chloride, its valency we have written here on its bottom, and we have to move the valency to the bottom, and under chlorine valency I have written 1, and calcium valency I have written 2, fluorine valency I have written 1, magnesium and sulfate simple ratio are 1:1, so I have mentioned the same here, and sodium and phosphate ratio are 1:3, I have written the same. Now what you have to do means simply cross multiply the valencies here. Hydrogen's valency is 1, okay, but chlorine's valency is also 1. Simply cross multiplying this one with this one and this one with this chlorine, you will get H1Cl1. H1 and Cl1, nothing but HCl. Simply you can write it as a H and Cl. Okay, like this. Then in case of calcium fluoride, calcium valency is 2 and fluorine's valency is 1. Simply cross multiply the valency of fluorine with this calcium and valency of calcium with fluorine, then formula you get here is CaF2, Ca1F2. So when it is 1, you don't have to mention there, simply you can write Ca and F, CaF2, you can write it simply like that. Then coming to magnesium, we have simplified the valencies here from 2:2 ratio to 1:1. We have simplified them, and by cross multiplying them you will get only MgSO4. And similarly, cross multiply the valency of phosphate with sodium and valency of sodium with that of phosphate. So you will get Na3PO4. So like this we can write chemical formula of any given compound. So hope children and you have understood very well. Thanks for watching my video, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.